So I'm going to be really real with you guys right now. Do you know how some moms think like the best holiday is Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's? My favorite holiday was back to school. I get to drop off my kids somewhere and they're gone. Yeah, it's lovely. How much would you pay for a spot in the car line? Like to be the first? Yeah. How many times have you picked up our kids from school? You can count on one hand how many. I did it for years. I would pay up to $1,000.
Oh my goodness.
I'm Jeena.
Hey, I'm Drew. Welcome back to Hey There Adulting, where people who can't adult find a diverse, inclusive community to figure life out with.
You want to hear the story that I just saw? I'm so angry for this mom. So angry. I'm just going to tell you guys.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. I've got a story. I'm just reading her post word for word. Okay. I've got a story for y'all. On Monday, I received a phone call from my son's school. Their nurse saying that my son only had 2 pills left and needed a refill. I told the nurse that she had the wrong Kevin Brown and my son does not take any medication. My son is a junior. So what she's talking about is her son is Kevin Brown Jr. So like there must be another Kevin Brown. So Kevin Brown Jr. is the one that you should be looking for. She says, oh, well, disregard the email that I just sent. I got home from work and something told me to ask my son if he was getting medication at school. And he said, yes, it's for me to hear better and focus. I lost it. I took him to the hospital and the doctor did a urine sample and a blood sample. My son tested positive for Adderall. The nurse gave my son another child's medication for 5 weeks.
Jeez. And not just like a Tylenol or something, like Adderall.
Adderall?
Oh,
so
man.
Not only is it bad because this kid was taking Adderall for 5 weeks, but that also meant another kid who needed that Adderall was without Adderall for 5 weeks. Is there not protocol in schools on how to take medication? Like how nurses dispense medication to their students?
I mean, I assume the protocol in the school would be same as hospitals where you have to check first name, last name, date of birth, and then give it to that child. So somewhere she missed that step. And I'm sure that she felt after she gave the children medication a couple times that she knew who they were. So I'd be curious to see, like, do the kids look alike? Or, like, I would be curious where the case study is where she started that discrepancy. Like, how did she get the wrong child?
So the only thing I think... So I want to let you guys know a couple more information because I read the comments and she does, like, clarify a few things. Because people are like, if he's a junior, right? That's why I clarified with you guys. They're like, he's a junior in high school. He should have known that's not his medication. He's a Kevin Brown Jr. Another thing is this kid is 6 years old. So I can think of my 5 or 6 year old, if an adult with authority is coming to them and saying, you need to take this, and this is why you need to take it, because it's supposed to help you focus and think better and see better, right? Because we know why people who take Adderall, they need to focus better and it helps them do all that better. I don't see my 5 or 6 year old looking at a nurse, someone who they're supposed to trust and say, nope, you're wrong. I don't see many children doing that, especially when we live in a society where we tell children not to second guess or question authority. So I know a lot of people are going to say, like, it's the child's fault. It's not the child's fault. This child's 6. That would be like expecting my 6-year-old to know how to do, like, make meals and, like, it's the child's fault if they're not eating. Right. Like, no, that's the adult. That's on the adult. I don't know how schools do it because the nurse was never going to admit to this. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I've been giving your child medication when I wasn't supposed to. The mom took, like, she had the, she knew that she needed to look into this further and then ended up finding out that her son had Adderall in his system.
Yeah, I won't lie. I saw your post the other day, and so I read it.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking at it, and I think that was the most surprising part to me is that the nurse was, like you said, going to sweep it under the rug. That's what you said in your post. And that's what, like, was surprising to me about this article is that the nurse called the mom and said she needs a refill. The mom said, no, my son doesn't take medication. And the nurse said, oh, okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. And then, like, ended the conversation. And the mom had to use her mother's intuition to be like, why did I get that call? come on, let's go to the ER, let's go to the doctor, and then tested. And that's how she found out and how long it had been happening. Because the 6-year-old, I mean, they're just super honest most of the time and straightforward. And I chuckled a little bit when you were reading the story because I just imagined one of our kids just being like, yeah, it's helping me focus. Like I get a happy pill or I get a focus pill every day. And they're like proud of it, not realizing
How bad?
it's somebody else's medication. They're not supposed to take that. You should have asked your parents or should have talked to the parents, or the parents may not be aware.
The parent was not aware. She only became, I don't feel like she technically became aware. No one informed her. She just knew to ask questions. I mean, as busy as we are as parents, I can see like something like this happening and then a parent not recognizing, and then that nurse is like, oh, but my butt, I just saved my own butt. Like I didn't say anything. In reality, what would we do if it was our own kid? What would you want to do?
I would sue him. I mean, there's long-term effects of taking stuff like Adderall. There's been studies and people have moved away from taking Adderall because of the changes that it causes your body and stuff like that. And
which I don't want someone not taking it because of these studies. If you need it, take it, please.
Yeah, but like they have gotten more strict on prescribing Adderall because there can be negative side effects to it. They used to just give it out like candy. Kids too hyper in class, give them Adderall or Ritalin, when we were growing up. But they've gotten a lot more strict on that because they have seen like, oh, there are some negative side effects. This isn't just a magic pill to make people focus. So, I mean, the fact that she swept it under the rug too, I wouldn't just sue to like get money to sue. I would sue to see if it had happened to any of the other kids and to prevent it. Yeah, make change and prevent it from happening to other kids in the future too. Because if it happened to this kid, how many other kids did she just give the wrong medication to?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I mean, these are pretty young kids and this is the elementary, but if you think of the system as a whole, let's say this is junior high or high school, and it was pretty taboo when I was growing up. And that's, I think, why this specific story stuck in my memory. But there was a girl in my high school that would go to the nurse every day to get birth control.
What?
Her birth control pills, yeah.
How?
I don't know why or how it was set up, but she would go to the nurse every day to go get her birth control pills.
Did her parents get her that birth control?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
Like it was like I don't know like the backstory behind it, but for this specific case, right? Let's say this nurse was a little further up into junior high or high school and she had given the wrong kid birth control. And then it had changed her hormones. Or let's say she'd given him an insulin like metformin or something like that, diabetic medication, and they had a sugar crash.
Well, what's worse is that if she was supposed to be giving this one kid birth control and stop giving it to the other kid, stop giving it to the child that needed it and give it to another kid, that this girl who thinks that she's protected ends up falling pregnant because of somebody else's mistake. Yeah.
So that's why I would sue, is see what are the systemic issues within that school or that specific nurse's office or whatever to prevent that from happening. I would raise all kinds of canes. I know you would too. I'm not sure I would need to say anything because I know you would just be like a bull in a china shop.
You can't let me be the only bull. Sometimes I need some backup, Drew.
No, I'll be there for you, but I'll just have to stand there and look.
No, I want you to act crazy. That's like the issue that I've had in our marriage sometimes.
I would use my white privilege just standing there, and then you just get them.
That has been an issue. Sometimes I want you to act crazy with me.
Yeah. And
you don't. You just be there all calm, cool, and collective. And I want someone to be crazy.
It's like good cop, bad cop.
Okay, sometimes I want bad cop.
Okay.
I want you to be there with me. Doing the crazy, stupid stuff. Well, it's not stupid. I usually don't do stupid stuff. But I want you to be doing the crazy stuff with me.
Okay. If this happens to any of our kids, I'll make sure
I'm
there with you. Full force. Who do you think's better at adulting, me or you?
Honestly, I can't. I feel like
I'll go with me.
Maybe you.
Yeah.
You're a jerk.
That's why I'm going to win the presidency again this November.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You guys don't even understand.
Kids are gearing up.
No, they're not. They're not going to vote for you. They learn from their mistake.
Learned what? We've had the best 4 years in the Wilder household the last 4 years under my presidency.
So listen, I know you guys are probably tired about hearing about the presidential election that's coming up, and we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the Wilder presidential election. Every 4 years, we vote for a president, and we are the presidential
Are you voting
candidates.
for mom or dad?
And the last year, or not, 4 years ago,
Actually, this is the presidential wave.
we had the kids vote for either me or Drew. And they all voted, except for one kid. They all voted for you?
Penguin wasn't able to vote because he wasn't born, was he?
No.
So yeah, everyone voted for me except one.
Okay. And one of our daughters, Badger, she was going to be voting for me. And then at the last minute,
Subterfuge.
due to some illegal...
Illegal?
Illegal. It's illegal to try
it was
to...
simply, listen.
What's the word?
Because you didn't lobby appropriately is not
illegal lobbying at the polls.
It's not illegal.
Yes, it is illegal.
No, it wasn't. It
Yes,
wasn't
it is.
even me.
Yes,
it was
it is.
Panda.
No, it's illegal.
Our oldest talked to her. It wasn't
He
even
works
me.
for you. That's still illegal.
I wasn't even president yet. He wasn't part of my
It doesn't matter
campaign.
if you're president or if you're a presidential candidate. You cannot lobby at the polls.
I did not lobby at the
Yes,
polls.
you did. You had one of your employees did it.
My goodness.
Anywho.
This is the biggest baloney I've ever heard.
Look,
Yes.
I took my loss like a champ, but our girls started crying because when they realized the mistake that they made to vote for this man, right? They were like, I should have. And I was like, look, this is what real life is. If you vote for a president and you don't like it, days, weeks later on afterwards, you're still stuck with that vote. And so our girls learned a very good lesson that day.
But I'll have them come back around. But because do you know why she was crying?
Why?
Because you promised them we would go to Disney if you became president. And she was sad and crying because then she thought she wasn't going to get to go to Disney. Do you know how many times we've been to Disney while I have been president? Let me set the record straight for you guys.
Not because of you, though. Not because of you. And
is it under my wait. Let me get my presidential hands going right here. Listen, before I was president, we went to Disney 0 times. Upon my presidency and thereafter, we've gone to Disney 3 times. Count them. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
So, kids, if you would like to continue to go to Disney, vote for Drew Wilder.
Okay.
AKA
I'm just going to
Dad.
tell you right now that all the reasons why we've been to, like, the sole reason why we've been to Disney 3 times has all been because of me. Drew, you have not done nothing. You don't even like Disney.
That is not the point here. The point here is I am president during the time that we went to Disney.
That's like, that's
being
you know
the
what
president,
this sounds like? You know what this sounds like? Shush.
You're helping me. You're helping me.
This sounds
You're
like when
helping
presidents take what's the right word? They take.
I'm not helping you.
Yeah, I know you're not. They take
Leadership.
No, shush.
Responsibility.
Shut up for once. Okay, so when presidents take like the credit, there we go. When presidents take credit for like the economy, but like it was the president beforehand, all the policies and laws that they put in place, and then they leave before they can see those policies like become like the fruits of that labor. Drew legit took my work and is taking like credit for it when he's done none of it.
That is really interesting because we didn't have a president before me.
What are you talking about?
You said when they take previous presidents' work and build on it. I started this administration, and we have been going strong. And I can
show the proof of the emails.
I will just say one more thing here. As president, I could have vetoed any trips that came across my desk the past 4 years.
You could have vetoed it?
Yes.
Okay, let's veto this. The next time you want some, you get none because you can veto that.
Not while I'm president. So basically you're saying I need to use my presidential power to get what I need.
Try it. Try it. Try it.
Well, you know, scandal is scandal for a reason, and we'll have to take this off mic later.
We're not taking taking nothing off my. You're taking credit for something you had nothing to do with. You don't even like Disney. You just admitted to it. I have proof.
I never said.
I have proof. Roll the clip.
Roll it back.
I have proof
Did
right here.
I say I don't like Disney?
I have proof of pictures you saying that you don't like Disney.
You set me up. That's what.
There's no setup if you don't like
Subterfuge.
it. Right here. Here's another picture of Drew showing that he doesn't like Disney.
You know, all you're showing to me is the times that we went to Disney while I was president. Even if I didn't want to be there, as a leader and a true leader of this family, I allowed us to go, and we went because I knew it was special to you and the kids. That's what a real leader does. He thinks about other people and their experiences, not his own.
Why are you touching me?
Because.
I'm just gonna say,
you can run off being first lady. You can run your campaign as like, when I was first lady under President Drue, this stuff happened. I'll allow that.
I'm just going to let you guys know that I'm going to campaign so hard this November, and that I will make sure that Drew is never president again.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't remember how we even got to this. I don't. All I was just going to say is...
I think I can get the swing vote. We probably need to move on from this.
I'm segueing to something else right now.
I've already counted my votes, and I can get the swing vote. So, anyway.
You got the boys. That's legit it.
Yeah. I just need one girl.
Yeah, and you're not getting it.
I need a swing vote. All right. Sorry. That was a huge...
Anywho, talking about homeschool, I think we were just talking about the nursing thing. Mm-hmm. I think really what this makes me realize is like having our kids homeschooled, we run into less issues like this. Because I remember the time where we had the bus driver who was singling out Panda because he was black and saying that he was causing all these issues on the bus. And then when the school interviewed all the kids who were on the same bus, they're like, no, he's not doing any of this. Actually, we've been bullying Panda, and the bus driver picks on Panda and picks on him and like makes it impossible for him to do anything. And so homeschooling our kids has made it possible where we don't have to deal with a lot of this stuff. But it is still really sad because what ends up happening is, not to say, I feel like we've gotten to I feel like we've gotten to a place in society where like people are so like one way, where it's like teachers can do no wrong. It's always the parents or the kids' fault. And parents and kids can do no wrong. The teachers are just like the ones off the wall and just out of pocket. And I think if we could come to like a middle ground and just taking things case by case, that we would have less issues like this. But I also know just as humans, we're always going to be who we are, where there are going to be people who are like, no, the teachers like deserve better and they never are wrong and it's your fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It's just really sad because I don't know. It's just really rough. I would be so angry. I would be angry for the child who didn't get the Adderall, and I'm angry for that child who did get the Adderall when they never needed it. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even if they did need it, if this kid ended up having ADHD and they're like, well, it wasn't really harming them, it still was without the parents' permission. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to like focus on. Whether or not the child needed it, because I'm sure someone will be like, well, the kid ended up, why didn't they show any signs? Maybe it didn't interact with them negatively, right? But that still doesn't take away from the fact that the parent had no choice in the matter. That parent was not informed beforehand. It was not for that nurse to do.
Do you know any follow-up from this story? Like, has the nurse been fired? Has the school been investigated?
I can check right now.
Like that? Yeah. I'd be interested to see what the follow-up is.
Me too.
On that story.
I just feel really, really bad for this
maybe
child.
If they don't have it yet, maybe we should follow up our next podcast.
With them
on that story.
Maybe she's trying to get more like eyes on this, and so I can like put a link to the posts in the descriptions if you guys. It's on Facebook, so it's not even like a Reddit. This is a real mom with her real son. You can like see, and she's really angry about this. Right now it has 24K like reactions or likes. It's been shared 31K times. And I'm mad for this mom. I wouldn't hate for anyone to drug my child. That's legit what it is, even though it's not a negative drug or it's not like street drugs. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the I guess blessing in this situation is that it doesn't seem like the child had severe negative reactions to the medication that he had never taken before. It will be interesting for him and his mom coming the next couple weeks coming off of that, because it does change your mood and stuff like that. So basically I'm saying it seems like there weren't serious side effects right now.
Okay, good.
But I'll be interested to see like what that follow-up is.
I was going to say, this nurse who's always talking about side effects, I'm glad you said right now, because like, you're the king.
No, I'm saying like I'm happy it wasn't like diabetic medication and the kid didn't end up in the hospital.
Okay.
And that's how they found out that he had given the wrong medication.
Okay.
Like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I just feel for this mom. And I know a lot of people are probably going to scrutinize her and say it was her fault, but there's nothing that she did wrong. Nothing. Mm-hmm. She sent her child to school, and then this happened to her child. Mm-hmm. And in this case, this is truly the school and the nurse's fault, and they need to figure out what they need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen to another child again. Mm-hmm. They need to set up a system in place, because it's just truly that sad.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready for the kids for homeschooling, a whole nother year. They're doing homeschool co-op. We're planning out their...
You're planning out their curriculum.
I'm planning out the curriculum, yes.
I just got all their payments for their co-op stuff put together and extracurriculars I'm starting to put together. They have open house next week. I think the class the kids are most excited for, or at least Cal's most excited, is Taylor Swift class.
Yeah, this is a nice thing about homeschooling, because they get to do like cool things. But you go ahead and tell them what the Taylor Swift class is all about, because you've done more research on it than I have.
The Taylor Swift class is just that. It's about Taylor Swift. And so I read through the curriculum, and they cycle through like 3 different things. They bake something one week that's Taylor Swift. They do a craft that's Taylor Swift. And then they like dissect a song and how it's built. And then they do a dance party to that song. In December, they're going to bake Taylor Swift a cake for her birthday. And then they were going to do one more thing, like make Taylor Swift glasses and bracelets and all the typical Swiftie stuff.
Which someone may look into this and like, that's ridiculous. Why would you have a whole Taylor Swift class? But in reality, if you're looking at it as a homeschool parent, the fact that they're baking, so that's learning, right? They have to bake the whole like cake, dessert, whatever it is. That's still learning, right? But dissecting all of her lyrics, heck, we could end up with a Taylor Swift, Kendrick Lamar version child. Cal could be the next. And you're laughing, but like really, she's going to be learning how to analyze music and lyrics. Like that's really important. They do that in Harvard. They dissect like Kendrick Lamar's like lyrics in Harvard. Why not do it as a homeschool class? And so like I know a lot of people are like, that's ridiculous, that's so stupid. But in reality, no, that's almost like a college level class. Technically. Soon enough, we may find out like they might be a Harvard class.
For Taylor Swift.
I
wouldn't doubt it. She's popular enough. She's done enough. I think it's funny you look at the intellectual part of the co-op.
You don't?
No, I look at it as more like the pop culture. Like I have heard so much flack growing up about homeschool kids not being cultured enough, exposed to social experiences enough, being awkward, being homebodies, like all of that. So the fact that she has a Taylor Swift class just to expose her to like when she goes to college and like she finds another Swiftie, like she can connect on that level and stuff, rather than like some people that go and they're like, no, who's Taylor Swift? Or like, who's Michael Jackson? And you're like, how do the homeschool kids know who's Michael Jordan? Like how do you not know like who these people are? You know, so
you're basically saying this class hits on both points of the social and pop culture aspect, but I'm saying it's also hitting the intellectual part of it as well. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but I'm always being a homeschool mom that helps like create our kids' curriculum. I'm always going to look at the academic side of any of the classes. That's just who I am, because I feel like we do a pretty good job as parents, like I guess like young millennial parents, to include a lot of the pop culture stuff, because I'm still very heavily into the pop culture stuff myself. And so I I mean, I think everyone's always worried about like the whole, like you said, those awkward homeschool kids who know nothing about what's happening. I don't think that our kids are like that. I'm sure someone else may think that, but I've talked to a lot of adults who are like, our kids are very much the opposite of what they would think of as high school kids.
Yeah,
homeschool kids.
No. I mean, I'm going to call my brother out right now where he's like homeschooled and like just...
He does not.
Just not, yeah, he just does not get out socially, like in pop culture specifically. And so like one day I was just talking to him about cars. And I feel like most kids going through high school or whatever, you just hear what the popular cars are.
Yeah.
But it was like Ferrari. And I was like, oh, you don't want to get like a Ferrari or something? He's like, oh, what's that? And I was just like, oh, goodness. I'm sorry, bro, but what do you mean you don't know what that is?
So you guys got to know, Drew and his older brothers were not homeschooled, but his younger brother and younger sister were.
Yeah.
And so that's just is how your family
it's just
dynamic.
A lot of it is like your homeschool curriculum and your parents and stuff like that. And my parents are a little bit older now, homeschooling my younger brother and sister. And so like they just... Even with internet and stuff like that, like they're not as fluent as we are with internet, with tablets, with stuff like that. And so they just aren't, I don't think they're just exposed to as much stuff. Also, they were homeschooled pretty much a decade ago compared to where our kids are right now.
I don't think it's the time though.
No, I do believe now there's way more homeschool resources and co-ops than there were like 10 years ago. You could find co-ops.
5 years ago? Even 5 years ago, it's been a huge change. Because I would say, personally, from what I'm seeing, there are more homeschool families and more diverse homeschool families. Since COVID, because a lot of parents started recognizing, hey, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh my goodness, it's a lot easier. Oh my goodness, there's way more resources for curriculums. I'm understanding way more about homeschool curriculums. I'm understanding way more about how to socialize my children because I had to do it because I was forced to because of COVID. Hey, I can definitely do this. Let me do this. I like the benefits of it. I mean, if you think about it, we were thinking about homeschooling before COVID. And we started a little bit before COVID, but then we ended up loving it. And now we've been doing it for the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. Way more resources now.
Oh, so much more.
For homeschool. We kind of are trying to get the best of both worlds with our co-op. Because most of the week the kids are homeschooled, but they do go to co-op once or twice a week. So they get to socialize with friends. And they get extracurriculars. Like Panda's doing fencing. And he did cooking last year and stuff like that. The girls are getting to do ballet and jazz and artwork and stuff like that. So we're trying to touch on like the good of both. What are you going to do with all your time now that you're just going to have Penguin at home? Like you're going from 5 kids down to 1. And I feel like there's a lot of adults out there that are about to make this transition from the summer craziness of always having your kids home to being like, yes, there's 7-8 hours that they're at school and I can have a clean house for 6 hours.
I'm just going to say, I'm not going to be as blessed as you moms who are sending your kids to public school. Because I do feel like that is like something that I loved. So I'm going to be really real with you guys right now. Do you know how some moms think like the best holiday is Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's? My favorite holiday was back to school. I would cry. I would drop off my kids off at school and I would like throw a party. I would go get my nails done. I'd go to Target, wander through. My favorite holiday of the year was back to school. And then it would be Christmas. Now I don't have that. I only get that twice a week now where I feel like I get to drop off my kids somewhere and they're gone. But yeah, it's lovely. I like it. This is why when parents are like, oh, I don't think I could homeschool because I don't think I can handle all my kids like for 8 hours a day. I totally understand it. You're real for that. Thanks for not understanding that. Like, I can't say I'm never going to like, how can you do that? Don't you love your kids? No, I love my kids and I love the first day of school. That was my favorite holiday. That's why do you think I would have such big budgets of buying the teachers everything they wanted for their classroom? Because teachers were goddesses. Like they were helping not only teach my kids stuff, right? Helping them, right? Learn how to grow And then they took my kids away from me for 8 hours a day. They were the best. That's why I treated teachers like with everything. I would get them presents and buy stuff for their classroom. I would volunteer because they were awesome.
Like a whole basket of stuff.
I love spoiling teachers.
You get like Stanley Cups and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Technically, Stanley Cups were not so I never got
whatever the equivalent is.
The equivalent, yeah. I'd also I also love doing this, which would be I'd love to say, hey, what's one big party that you like to have every year that ends up taking the most time and the most money? And I'm like, I'll take it over. And so it usually was the Christmas party, and it'd be like, you don't have to worry about it. I'll find another parent who'll help me, and we'll work on it. You just have to show up, and then we'll help you do it. So I was really involved. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I love homeschooling as well. But I always made.
I mean, it's pretty crazy how involved in some ways you still are, because you did clearing the list this year too.
Oh,
and you've done that every year for like the past 3 or 4 years, even though our kids aren't going to public school or anything like that. Like, you will go on and clear teachers' lists and stuff like that, just show appreciation that they are taking care of like the next generation and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I haven't done it publicly for the last, I would say like 3 years. I just would pick a teacher randomly and just like purchase a bunch of items off for their list. But this year I was just like, I don't know what it was like, kind of like a light bulb moment where I was just like, well, why not? Like, why am I not doing this more often, or not just picking one teacher? Let me pick more than one teacher. It's not only hard for families, but it's really hard on teachers who are not getting paid enough as is. I just felt like it was right. And so I picked 4 teachers and I bought like items off their list. I cleared most of their list. And that's what I did. I just felt like, I don't know, the idea of a teacher having to use their own money to purchase stuff for the supplies for their classroom felt so wrong. It still feels wrong. And you know what's even worse now? This is now my new villain origin story.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I had a couple of teachers DM me and they're like, hey, I can't publicly put my lists, like share my wish list, like publicly. I'm just going to email it to you. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, my district won't allow me. And then like a little ding, ding, ding went off my head. The reason why the districts won't allow them is because they know that they're doing something wrong. They know, like, hey, this makes us look bad. This is wrong. We should be providing them with enough of a budget to purchase a couple, supplies for their classroom. So we don't look bad, we're going to tell our teachers, you cannot share your wish list publicly. Made me so angry.
I was thinking it was that it would be a more affluent school and they didn't want to look like they couldn't afford that, which is about the same thing.
It's still the same thing. If a teacher's having to ask, like, if a school's not providing everything that they need, and I'm just going to tell you guys this. Whenever I would clear a teacher's list and I would look at the items in their list of stuff that they need on Amazon, it was never anything extravagant, right? And even one time I saw a fridge on there and I was like, well, technically a teacher would need a fridge, a place to keep their lunch, a place to keep all the snacks for the kids. If there's any, like, if a teacher has medication, anything like that, like a fridge in a classroom, I don't think it wasn't even a big fridge, right? It was like a little mini fridge to keep, like, I know that Panda's teacher, Miss Heffernan, I love you, Miss Heffernan, she would buy snacks for her kids, but a lot of these snacks would be sometimes refrigerated. Not always, but like she would need a little fridge. And I feel like that in some people's eyes,
splurgy.
You think it's a little splurgy? Because I don't.
Needing a fridge for the snacks, like, you just have to buy snacks that don't need a fridge. You can get a little basket instead. If
yeah,
you're
but
really
what if it's
budgeting
drinks?
and stuff.
What's drinks and stuff like that?
Oh, Capri Sun? They don't, like, if they're hot, yeah, that's no good. But like room temperature, or even kind of a little bit cool.
Then I'm going to ground you for a whole month's worth of warm room temperature Capri Sun.
Please do. Please put them next to my brownies in the pantry. Stack me up boxes and boxes of Capri Sun, and I will go to town.
That's a lie. You want cold Capri Suns. You like warm room temperature?
I'm okay with room temperature. Jeena, that's where I say it's a little bougie, because you don't need cold Capri Suns. Room temperature Capri Sun is just fine for a 6-year-old.
Okay, so basically, if I'm not okay with my kid drinking room temperature Capri Suns, if I make sure I put ice packs in my kids' lunches, why is it so horrible for a teacher to make sure that how she would want her own child to have nice, cold,
It's not if she takes it out of her
quenching-
budget. But I'm saying if, like, we're going to agree to disagree here.
We are. He's
a
wrong.
fridge in the classroom
Teachers deserve the
is
best.
a bit bougie. It's bougie.
I feel bad for you teachers. If you have any teachers or parents like my husband coming up in the classroom, I'm not saying that you should.
I'll bring you a box of Capri Suns. How about that? I feel like that's going above and beyond.
To the man who brought me a pregnancy yoga video when I wasn't pregnant.
Well, you know, are you more flexible now?
No.
Oh, because you didn't use it. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, we'll have to agree to disagree. A fridge for snacks for kindergarten teachers is bougie.
Okay, well, what about the teachers who buy hair supplies for their students so their kids, their students are not like hair? You would
That's
count that
like
as bougie?
self-care. No.
Okay, no.
Okay, if you had a choice between like
I think both.
$25 hair care supplies and $5 hair supplies, then like, yeah, you might have to go a little bit cheaper with the hair care supplies.
And you also have to recognize some parents like you may think that's ridiculous for them to have to, for the teachers to purchase hair supplies.
It is ridiculous. They shouldn't have to do that. The parents should be doing that.
I'm talking about it being in general, like, because I think you're just looking at it from a place of privilege, and I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Just remember, I'm specifically talking about the refrigerator, and there instead of getting a basket of room
how you need to look at
snacks.
both at the same time.
Let's go over our curriculum a little bit for anybody interested in like what we do for homeschooling and curriculum.
So I'm going to let you guys know I am very rigid in my homeschool curriculum. Like
Very what?
Rigid. Like
I thought you said Bridgerton.
No.
I was like,
rigid.
what does that mean?
Because there's some people who unschool. Right?
yeah.
And I'm very much the opposite of that. I have a whole schedule on what the kids do each day. And then I pretty much pick the workbooks. I choose them for a reason. And most of these workbooks, I would say most, but it's all of these workbooks that I choose, I pick them because they are very up to standards, to state standards of what the kids need to know for their grade level each year. So I don't randomly just pick one like, oh, this one looks pretty or this one looks nice or I think this one, like, no, I pick it because I know that it's going to follow the one that I choose. It fits most states, and I know for sure it fits Georgia standards. I haven't seen it not fit most states, but someone will tell me, hey, this is really close but doesn't fit New Mexico state standards. But I will say this curriculum fits most, and it definitely fits Georgia. And I have most of the subjects, which would be math, reading, language arts, writing. Those are the subjects I use in the spectrum. I will add a link to all of the workbooks that we use. And then I also will add a video of all the things that we use for our homeschool curriculum. I don't just use one curriculum. Like, I pick and choose what's best. So I use Spectrum for those 4 subjects that I just talked about. And then for another subject, which would be science and geography, we use Evan Moore. And I love Evan Moore because for science, they do a lot of science projects. And my kids really like it. And these are science projects every couple lessons. So it's not like every single lesson is a science project. I couldn't handle that. There was like one curriculum that I used. It was like a science project every single time, every single day. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Our house is a hot mess all the time. And then for history, we use woke homeschooling, and I really love it because it's American history through the eyes of Black, Brown, Indigenous, and immigrants, through their eyes. And there's a lot of reading. So they read about every 2 weeks. They're reading a book. They take days to read this book, so it's like a
couple chapters every day.
And I like it because my kids do have their reading that they have to do every single day because they have to do a minimum of 30 minutes of reading with us, any book that you like of your genre that you love. But they also it's historical fiction, and they would have books that they were reading with their history. And so I like that. And then this year I'm making my own homeschool curriculum for the presidential election. So this is just based on everything you need to know about becoming a president, how the presidential election comes, is how you're messing with my flow, how the presidential election happens, what you need to know about the president, the electoral college, all of it. And you get to learn about the presidents, past presidents, and then the current president's presidential candidates as well.
I just thought about, do you have a book about me on there as the current president?
That's pretty much my homeschool curriculum. I don't do the presidential election every year. That one is just every 4 years. We did it 4 years ago with the kiddos. It was a lot easier back then because it was really basic. Really? Now that they're older, it's a lot more involved.
Really, it's actually every 2 years, because in the midterms when we go to vote, we probably do about a week where we talk about voting and do like a really condensed curriculum on vote. It's not like a formal sit down, here's a book about voting, or we're going to learn this and this and this about voting. But we spend about a week talking to the kids about like, what are the midterms? Why are we voting? What are we voting for?
It's not as in-depth as,
and then they go with us to vote.
Yeah. And that would be part of the curriculum. If you guys, I'm actually thinking about, or I've already decided, I'm creating my own curriculum. I'm going to share it with you guys. But part of the curriculum is that your kids go with you to vote. I think that's really important. I remember with my parents, I would go with them to go vote. I don't know if it was really because we were off from school. No, actually I know it wasn't because we were off from school. Because we were latchkey kids and my parents would leave us home all the time. So I was used to being home at hours, for hours at home all the time. My dad especially, my dad was very, very felt like it was such a huge privilege and right to vote. And when he became an American citizen, he was so proud to become an American citizen that he would take us to vote. And I loved it. And so we take our kids to vote, but that is part of my curriculum, that you are going to be taking your kids to vote with you. And they get to stand with you. It's like the only kid that gets to, because the adults don't get to stand next to you. So I would like show my kids like, here we go, here's how I'm voting, and then like all that. And so we're teaching them this year how to learn about candidates, like their policies and what they're wanting to implement during their term. Like we're going to teach them how to learn about that, how to find that information out, all of it. And then I'm so excited because we get to talk about past presidents. I'm excited about that as well. I like it. You guys are going to find out how much of a nerd I am, because I don't like just picking on Drew, even though that's our love language. I don't just like picking on him. I like to be a nerd too. I just love learning about like the presidential election and all that. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. It's really interesting.
Teaching our next generation of voters too.
Maybe we might even be lucky and one of our kids become a politician.
I don't know about that.
If anyone,
like that's
you know who could it be?
Dirty word.
You know who could it be? Panda or a cow? I think one of them. The way that they argue and the way that like, cow for sure, because she's loved by people. She's not only great, like commanding a room, people love her, but she's also so charismatic. She would be great. Panda, I feel like, like the same thing as Kamala,
so
attorney general.
Basically, we need to encourage them to be lawyers, and then if they decide to go into politics, they can do that. That's basically what you're telling me.
You don't have to become a lawyer to become a politician.
But a lot do.
A lot do, but that's because you understand.
It
helps you understand, and it gives you a lot of the experience that you need, but you don't have to.
Yeah. You could just have a famous mom that promotes you on TikTok.
They're not. No, they need no. Oh, yeah, I'm going to support my kid unless they're doing something stupid. Anyhow, so that's everything. So that's our curriculum. I will share our curriculum, links to the books that we use, because I know a lot of families are always looking for more, just more ideas. I'm also, just because we homeschool doesn't mean that you can I'm not going to need this. If by any chance that you're looking to get extra help for your kid, a lot of these workbooks are great for extra work for homework or weekend work. If your kid is struggling in a certain grade, these workbooks would be great as extra to help your kid kind of get over a hump if they're struggling with a certain topic or subject. This would be perfect addition. They may hate me.
Raz Kids was really good for reading.
Reading, oh my goodness. Was it Cow? I barely felt like we taught her how to read. One day, she was reading and then was reading chapter books the next week, and I feel like her reading level is so high for her age. And she's like, it's like it's not a big deal for her. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like resources. So like Raz Kids is another one. Teaching textbooks for math, one of my favorites, because there's like a video recording of a teacher like teaching you how to do things, and then you're able to do math problems. There's so many things out there that even if you don't homeschool, but you're like, I know my kid is struggling in this subject, math, or they're struggling with algebra, like buying some of these workbooks would be perfect for them to have in addition to. So that way you're not only relying on the teacher to help your child, you're helping your child too. I am a huge advocate for parents being super involved, because I don't think the teachers should be the only one teaching. I think it's both teachers and parents together teaching their child. That's the only way I think that you will find your child succeeding, is if you're as involved and you're not solely leaving it to the teacher to do everything and be like the only person teaching your child. How much would you pay for a spot in the car line, like the pickup car line? Like to be the first,
pay?
yeah.
Like you just get to breeze by everyone else and have like valet.
Or this school does it where they have 6 parking spots, and then before they let anybody else out, so you pick up for the pickup line, they take your the 6 kids that have won this thing. They take your 6 kids and they bring them straight to your car in your parking spot. How much would you pay?
Nothing. I wouldn't pay for that.
I'm just gonna let you know right now, Drew's never had to sit in a car pickup line.
If it was like $5, yeah, maybe. Is this $5 a day? $5 a month? $5 a semester?
It was a like a fundraiser, so like it was a silent auction.
Oh, that's a little different. If it's just for fun, I may pay like $100 for the semester, maybe. If it was just for fun, but I wouldn't pay because they're like requiring it or anything like that.
They're not requiring it. You basically, it's a silent auction, and then you bid against other parents, and then the winner, and there were 6 winners, you get to park somewhere and then bring your kids straight to your car.
If it was going to a good cause, I'm okay with like $100 a semester. So $200 for the year. That's probably where I would max out.
How many times have you picked up our kids from school, from the pickup line?
I've actually done it a couple times. Not many, but a couple times.
You can count on one hand how many.
Yeah, a couple.
Okay.
That's what you said.
I did it for years. I would pay up to $1,000.
Oh my goodness.
Easily.
Just for priority parking?
Yes. Well, you forget that I would be at the school 45 minutes before the pickup line started, just so I could be the first one there.
Yeah, that's the difference between you and me, is you try to get there first. I would just time it to be there last.
The kids don't like being last. They don't enjoy it. It makes them feel sad.
I would put an envelope in their backpack, like say, hey, you open this when you're waiting for me to pick you up. They open it, has a little smiley note saying, remember, I love you. And you have like a little Rice Krispie.
Next time you want some, I'm going to be like, here, open this letter, and it says, remember, I love you, but you ain't getting that today. I'm just going to say it like that. Just remember.
I can do the same thing, and that's fine.
That's
Next
cool
time
with me.
you want some,
cool with me.
We get it's the opposite of IOU. It's like an I don't.
Kids didn't like it.
I don't owe you.
The kids didn't like it. They genuinely felt the love when you would be there waiting for them. We didn't have to wait in that line forever or wait in the gymnasium forever. It bothered them, and so I didn't have to. You would wait in that line for hours, 4 hours.
If you got there too early, yeah.
Even if you got there late. And I had places to be, places to go. I had to pick up 2 kids at 2 different schools. You first seem to forget that too. I picked up 1 kid, then I had to drive 45 minutes to another school to pick up the twins.
Here's the real question. Who can afford to pay $1,000 for premium parking?
We can, so that I could save more time.
I'm glad we homeschool then. You can pay me $1,000 to park in the parking driveway.
I'm going to pay you nothing. You got 5 babies out of me.
This is a great idea.
Nothing.
We're going to have a silent auction at the house. Who gets premium parking at the house?
What, the first spot or the second spot?
Or who has to park on the street?
Listen, one, we can't park on the street because our 8-year-old sucks balls. And 2, I'm getting the premium parking because I'm the one with a van.
If you pay me $1,000, now I know. Now I know the limit.
No. Anywho. I would pay $1,000. And that's just because
How much
and
should
listen.
they pay? No, I'm going to ask how much should they pay?
But they found out that it was six of the parents paid around $300 to $400 each. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for a good cause, and if you can afford it, great. If not, like, your kids will be okay.
All the moms who are watching this are like, I would pay that.
There's definitely a recent study that I read that said how to get, like, your kids to be in that position where, like, not a model citizen, but a productive citizen and a productive person in their life is they have to have just the right amount of trauma. I think waiting for your parent to pick you up and not having to do the bus is an okay amount of trauma for a kid.
No, it's not. How many kids who remember being like the last kid, parents are whizzing through the parking lot, 45 an hour minutes late, you're just sitting in the principal office kicking your feet?
I'm not talking about that late. I'm talking about being on time,
if
but
you're
the
not
last in
first,
line.
you're last.
But that doesn't mean you go to the principal office.
If you're not first, yes, you are.
What kind of school did
you
go to?
If you're not first, you're last.
Miss Prevalon, please come to the principal office.
Don't you call my government name out like that.
Your dad is more than 5 minutes late today. Please come to the principal office.
No, my dad would make sure I was always picked up early too. I was never last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But I'm just saying, like, it's okay. It's okay, kids.
It's not okay.
It's okay.
It's not okay.
If I actually want you to comment in the comments if you have that experience Gina's talking about where you vividly remember as a kid being the last one picked up and it scarring you for the rest of your life.
I'm sure there will be a lot of people writing down very vivid memories. And I will say they're all valid. I think it's right. I don't think your parents should have picked you up that late and for you to sit in the principal office for that long.
Oh my goodness. You go extreme early or extreme late. There's no in between.
There is no in between. That's why I say if you're not first, you're last. We're going to put a link to the parent to that TikTok that we watched.
Okay.
Okay, so if you got a chance to buy your way into the parent pickup line at your child's elementary school, what monetary value would you put on that?
Okay, we'll put a link to it. You guys can see the comments. I'll read some of the comments before we go. Honestly, I'd pay at least $1,000. Our car line takes 45 minutes per day. Time is money. One person said $0 because I'm showing up as the very last car, so I'm still getting the VIP service. Wrong.
So basically, the first two people that commented was me and you. Basically,
one
what you're
person
saying.
wrote, I think that's so insane, but that is so freaking smart of the school. I hope they're able to use the funds well. I genuinely think that the fact that I would
Buy
get to
the
be
teacher some supplies.
Amen. That's what we can agree on. That's the first time we would agree this whole episode. Time is money. I thought you were going to say it was over $10,000.
Oh my goodness. If you could buy a new car to reserve your parking spot, don't do it, please.
Oh, this person actually thought about it I'd do $10 a day, 180 days, $1,800. When you factor in the time it takes to get into those very few spots, it is well worth $50 a week.
Yeah, that's too logical. Don't do it. You could put that $1,800 a year into your retirement account.
We're putting more than $1,800 a year into our retirement account.
No, in addition to what you're already putting.
Yeah, $1,800 to save more time to do more stuff. I'd rather spend it on this.
Okay.
And we want more comments. My son's school sells fast passes for $300 each. They're only good for one semester. Tell me why they sell it every time. There are only 75 passes available.
Taking advantage. Capitalism in its finest.
Wow. Oh, one school does a raffle.
If they can do fast passes and stuff, why don't they just do that as a courtesy to the parents to begin with?
How do you pick and choose?
You can do a lottery or whatever. Or that's what blows my mind. Even with...
I don't think you're thinking
Let me
logical.
get into another tangent here because it blows my mind. Because even with airlines, even with airlines, if they just had assigned rows that got up and got off the airplane at a specific time, airplanes would unload twice as fast. Instead of just having everyone trying to get out at the same time, just have like every odd number row or every even number row get up so people aren't bumping into each other and all that. Like schools could do the same thing with car lines. That's what's frustrating about that for me. They could have zones or grades. Hey, kindergarten picks up at this time, first grade, second grade, third grade at this time.
You still would have to wait.
Yeah, like 5-10 minutes, but not 45 minutes.
You don't reckon, because this is how I know you've never been in a car pickup line. There are parents who take forever in that car pickup line.
This is how I know I've never been a principal of a school, because that car line be moving. No, I'd be out there with my megaphone.
You'd be making mistakes.
They'd be like, Principal Wilder, you're the best.
Ain't nobody voting you for principal of school.
I'd be like, I sure am. Here's a little happy face sticky note just for you.
Anywho, as we end this episode, because I'm tired of talking to this man, driving me nuts. You don't respect teachers enough.
What would you pay to not have to talk to me for a day? That's
I don't think I could go that long. I don't think I could go that long without talking to you. I love talking with you.
Oh, thanks.
Ew, baby. I'm never going to be nice and sentimental again.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we hope that your transition back to school was a smooth one. If you do or are having kids, go back to school or going back to school yourself, because for adults, it can be difficult too.
It is.
So have a good one, guys. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Bye.